Bobby.
Oh.
Bobby the Brain.
Right.
Shish kebab. I have a meme for you.
All right.
And a very fun character is involved.
All right. I like characters.
So if you could explain what this meme looks like and read the caption for our listeners.
You get it. Oh, hell yeah.
I knew you'd be excited about that.
Okay. So we got, he looks like he's having a bad time. We got Robocop here at the top. Not sure I want to read this one.
He might be having a really good time, actually.
Yeah, based on what it says, yeah. And it says, yeah, I'm chroming. And the bottom picture looks like a handful of liquid metal.
Yeah, that's what it is. So we got Robocop at the top, and he's chroming. And if you weren't sure what that means, there's a palm full of what looks like liquid mercury.
Is it the T-1000?
It could be. Could be the T-1000. This could be a Robocop Terminator crossover.
That would be cool. Let's do that. I wonder if that's a thing anywhere. I bet it is.
Oh, I would be shocked if not. Oh, there's the Terminator versus Robocop epic rap battle in Epic Rap Battles of History.
Oh, I don't know if
It's really it's really good. It's really good.
Okay, I'll just check it out.
I saw it live. I saw them do
Really?
it live.
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, Bobby, as funny as this meme is, and for the listeners, if you have ever listened to this podcast, you know this is going to go someplace dark. But let's see what this is all about. So we'll break down the meme first. Obviously, using the word chrome as a verb is intended to be a play on words with the word come. So instead of saying I'm coming, Robocop is chroming, he comes chrome. Now, looking at this meme on the surface level, it could be assumed that this is just a silly joke and that it doesn't have any deeper meaning than what it appears to have. Robocop is just ejaculating chrome. It's hard to even explain this without laughing because it's a fucking funny meme. It's pretty good.
It'd be great if, like, in the movie, his car was suddenly covered in more chrome. He'd be like, just more and more just keeps showing up.
Or like his parents come in and they find like this like chromed spot underneath the desk of his computer.
He's got a really hard sock.
He's got this really shiny sock. And in my opinion, like I said, it looks more like mercury to me. Like a handful of mercury, which maybe it is, but I hope you're not handling mercury.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah, you don't want to touch that shit.
Don't touch the mercury.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. But he's coming silvery stuff, and that's funny. However, if that were the deepest meaning of this meme, obviously we would not have an episode on it.
Right.
So the word chrome as a verb actually does have a meaning that is a little more unpleasant than what you might be expecting. It is not something that Exhibit does to your car. In fact, it might be even more costly than installing a TV on your catalytic converter. It's something that people are doing to themselves that is pretty self-destructive, to be honest.
Okay.
And just like our least favorite dances and, to be honest, least favorite people, this trend comes from TikTok. Of course, we had the Ice Bucket Challenge for MS or ALS or ASL or ESP. I can't remember, but it was a really good cause. Unless we're donating to ESP because psychics are a dirty, dirty scam.
Yeah.
I hope Sylvia Brown is ashamed of herself after hearing that, but we'll never know because nobody can talk to the fucking dead. Then, of course, there was the cinnamon challenge where you try to swallow a spoonful of cinnamon. Or the challenge where you try to eat 6 saltines without drinking any water. Then we had the Tide Pod challenge. Not as harmless as the Ice Bucket challenge, but it would have been for a good cause. But Tide had to be one step ahead of these idiots and make the stuff taste bad, so they spat it out. So they're all still in the gene pool fucking each other.
That's too bad. We could have done some good work there, Tide.
Yeah.
It thinned it out a little bit.
Full disclosure, I wouldn't have wanted any of them to die.
No.
But at the same time, it is hard to not make a joke like that.
Yeah.
Then we had the lemon challenge. Bobby, do you remember the lemon challenge?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't remember that one.
This is where you see how many wedges of lemon you could squeeze into your eye without blinking. I made that one up.
Okay,
but
yeah.
You briefly believed it.
I was totally buying that. Absolutely.
Yeah, you briefly believed it because the internet is so full of bad ideas that it's not unrealistic that actually happened.
Yeah.
It could have been real, and nobody would have been surprised.
Yeah, the lemon challenge. You got me with that one. I believed it.
Yeah. But kids do get into real trouble following things on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
On Saturday, December 2nd, last year, 13-year-old Ezra Haynes was at a sleepover with friends when her parents received a phone call that she had suddenly became unconscious after what turned out to be a cardiac arrest.
Oh, wow. She was how old?
13.
13. Yeah, that's a little young for a heart attack.
Yeah. Ezra's older sister, Imogen, explained what happened next. She spent about 1.5 weeks in the hospital fighting for her life. Her lungs and her heart were strong, but her brain just didn't recover. We unfortunately had to say goodbye to her.
Oh.
Yeah. So something fucking bad happened.
Yeah.
That brings me to chroming, or the chroming challenge, which after the meme, it's hard not to laugh at, but it is a pretty serious thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, filling your eyes to the brim with citric acid is such a terrible idea that I had to make it up as an absurdly dangerous trend, but chroming is actually worse and more dangerous.
Okay.
And to illustrate what this trend is, I'm going to read from the comment section of one of my favorite YouTube channels, Captain Disillusion.
Okay.
Captain Disillusion is a debunking channel, mainly debunking like special effects, fakery, basically people who try to post things on the internet and act like they're real when really they faked it with special effects.
Right.
It stars a character whose face's lower half is chrome colored.
Okay.
And because of the shiny face paint, the comment sections couldn't let go of the same fucking joke. He looks like he's been huffing chrome paint. This guy's been huffing silver paint. Again and again, the comment section just reads the same joke. And one literally just reads huffing paint. That's it. Just those two words. No explanation.
Yeah. Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. I immediately picture the woman on Starship Troopers saying, "I'm doing my part." And I think you know where I'm going with this. Chroming involves the practice of huffing things like spray paint, but also aerosols, markers, and other dangerous chemicals.
Okay.
And that is exactly what Ezra did at her sleepover. She had huffed an aerosol deodorant, and she spent a week and a half dying. And to go back to her sister Imogen, she explained Ezra's passing by saying, "It was such a roller coaster in the hospital. She fought as hard as she possibly could," which means Ezra was struggling to live. And while I don't think this is a tremendously popular trend, there are some kids doing this, and Ezra's situation should be a clear eye-opener for any young person wanting to participate in this.
Yeah.
And some young people about to make a bad decision will almost certainly see a situation like Ezra's and think, well, that's rare. Most people don't die from doing this. But you don't have to die for huffing to have tremendous impact on your well-being.
Yeah, it's still really bad for you.
Yeah, especially on your brain, your heart, and your lungs. There are so many health implications to what happens when you inhale any of these things.
Yeah.
Any of these inhalants. And that includes like when people do whippets, for example.
Oh, yeah.
That is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and that high only lasts, like a few seconds?
Well, it could last up to 5 minutes.
Okay, so 5 minutes. That is not worth the permanent damage you're doing to your body.
Right, yeah. And one thing is, just robbing your brain of oxygen can do permanent damage.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone huffing a chemical that is not supposed to be inhaled.
Yeah.
Obviously, if Ezra ended up in a situation wherein her brain couldn't recover enough to keep her alive, there's likely to be some level of non-lethal damage you could be doing to yourself. But setting that aside, there are other risks. Bobby, are you familiar with the Walking on Sunshine woman?
No.
So this was many years ago.
Okay.
Her name is Allison Fogarty. And she was featured on A&E's Intervention because of a severe addiction to inhalants.
Okay.
Specifically computer duster.
Oh.
And because of the internet treating her like a spectacle Rather than recognizing her situation as a difficult condition to overcome, there were memes after memes made about her. And I normally play clips in this podcast, but Allison has made it clear that she does not want us playing any clips of intervention.
Okay.
And in fact, does not want to air it at all anywhere. So I'm not going to do that.
All right.
I've explained enough about what her situation was. But her situation makes a few things clear. Doing inhalants has an impact on your outward behavior, hence all the attention paid to her. Her behavior was the target of relentless mockery. You will not likely be giving yourself a good look based on doing something like inhalants that can affect the way you act in that way. So, it doesn't matter if it's a trend among your small group, you're likely in the big picture to be judged harshly, whether rightly or not, by other people. Most importantly, Allison was addicted. She was finishing off multiple cans a day.
Oh.
Yeah, there is a risk of making this a habit.
Oh, yeah.
And with inhalants in particular, there are so many risks. Luckily, Allison's story turned out to be unusually positive. Last May, she made a post suggesting that she had been sober for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
She has a master's degree now, and according to her Twitter bio, she is a PhD student.
Okay.
But she was in med school during that intervention episode, and in fact, when A&E came to record, she thought that they were recording her to document the difficulties of being a med school student.
Oh.
But not only did she end up dropping out of med school, she also lost her job at a local shoe store because of her addiction. Inhalants are no joke. There's no joke there. And they aren't a challenge. They're a dangerous way to get high. There's no challenge to it. You inhale the fucking
Yeah,
stuff.
and you can get it anywhere. That computer duster, any electronics department's going to have that stuff.
Yeah, and the only challenge is to not die after,
Yeah.
or to not have permanent, disabilities from it. There's so many things. You could become mentally handicapped from inhaling this stuff. And even if that doesn't happen, even if that's not detectable in you personally, you might have dropped yourself in intelligence by quite a bit just by inhaling this crap.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the most common responses to people dying from chroming is the idea that their bad decision is just natural selection at work. For example, just this week, Tommy Lee Gracie Billington died. Yeah, it's a long name. It is. But Tommy Lee died very quickly after doing what the media calls the chroming challenge. And a lot of responses were about clearing the gene pool. Phrases like bozo alert or clown emojis, suggesting that Tommy Lee's death was something to be mocked and that he deserved. There's just a small problem with that. Tommy Lee was 11.
Oh, wow.
He was 11 years old. He's a fucking kid, a child. He learned this behavior from TikTok and imitated it. Because he was a fucking kid, and he was being a fucking kid.
Yeah, that's what kids do. They find something, they imitate it, and if you're lucky, you survive it, and you learn later on, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore.
Exactly.
That's childhood.
Kids are going to be kids. They're going to do dumb shit. Like,
Yeah.
If I were to have to sit through a "this was your life" sort of scenario,
Oh, God.
and I have to watch through everything I did as a kid,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I fucking did that? Like, it would blow my goddamn mind about how many stupid things I probably did that I just blocked out because we all have this idea that we're smarter than we actually are.
Oh, yeah.
And looking back, it's hard to reconcile that with how we behave as fucking kids. Obviously, regardless of what you call it, doing inhalants is a very bad idea. But mocking the people who have done it is also inappropriate. Like, it is wildly inappropriate to make fun of somebody, especially kids, even teenagers who have just died. This situation needs to be approached with more finesse than the way that the internet is treating it, which I know makes me sound naive. The internet isn't exactly known for being tactful.
Oh, God, no.
However, some of us can try better and be better examples and attempt to put an end to this trend without just humiliating the people affected. So the meme was funny
Oh, yeah.
until we learned what it was.
Yeah, no, it's not so funny.
Yeah. And like you see that meme going around, and I saw it trending and I laughed. I might even liked or shared it somewhere. I have no idea. You know, I might have even done that and not even remembered or thought about if there was a deeper meaning to it. But no, that is what the joke's about. It comes from using chrome as a verb, and they threw in Robocop with the chroming thing, which is objectively hilarious.
Oh,
it's a funny meme,
but
the actual trend behind it, it's a little dark and a little upsetting, to be honest. So what do you think?
I think the internet is a strange place.
I agree.
And it's been trying to kill people ever since it was invented.
Or trying to get people to kill themselves. It's just, I just don't understand, because the thing is that I knew inhalants were terrible since I was a little kid.
Well, I mean, that's kind of one of those common sense things, right? I mean, maybe not, but it seems like it should be. You know, you got a can of spray paint, probably don't inhale that.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, my parents used to like watching a show called Rescue 911.
Okay, yeah.
And every single time the cops were able to save the people involved. I remember one where a kid accidentally stabbed his brother because he was running with a knife and it was sticking out, and he accidentally stabbed his brother. They ran into each other and they saved the kid.
Yeah.
Then I finally saw an episode where they didn't save the person.
Oh, wow.
And that person died. And it was because this kid, and for anybody who doesn't know what Rescue 911 is, it's a show wherein they do reenactments of actual 911 reported events. Mm-hmm. And in this episode, the kid did not survive. And it was because he was huffing gasoline.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And what he would do is he'd huff gasoline, and he would go out to the pool in their backyard, and he'd put on a snorkel and just swim looking at the bottom of the pool high on gasoline fumes. And he ended up having a heart attack and dying. So don't fucking do this shit. No. If Rescue 911 couldn't save this fucking kid, where they have almost a 100%, they literally pick out the stories to be a 100% save rate, and when they pick one where a kid actually doesn't survive, they might be telling you a warning of some kind. So do not do inhalants. I don't care if you call it chroming. I don't care what they call it next year. Just don't do it. It's idiotic, and I know. I think that the media, like the news media, is overblowing it in terms of how popular this trend is. But they're certainly not overblowing it in how dangerous it is.
No.
So even if it's just a handful of people, just stop, please. Like, don't do this. You are putting yourself in extreme danger, and not just with death, and not just with addiction, but with permanent disabilities potentially.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse. You could end up a vegetable.
Yeah, it could be worse than death.
Yeah.
Like if you die, you're dead, but you might be living with something incredibly difficult to continue forward with, and you might not be prepared for that.
Yeah, and the people around you too, like say your parents, for example. Don't want to deal with that.
Exactly right. You know, and as horrible as that is to say, it's like, can you imagine not only being unable to communicate with the people around you, but also feeling like a burden on them and having no way to express that? Don't do inhalants.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not worth the 5 minutes that you get out of it.
Yeah, you might feel fun for 5 minutes, but it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
No. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening. These episodes have gotten fucked up lately.
Yeah, a little bit.
It seems like every trend I'm seeing lately, I don't know if people have like a complex or something. Maybe the internet has developed this just broad complex, but every single thing I see trending is just dark and horrible.
Yeah, don't you people have anything funny to talk about?
Yeah, come on, give us something fun. Give us a fun meme.
Stop trying to kill yourselves and make a joke for crying.
Yeah, make a joke or two. Fuck. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.